Okay, hey everybody, this is Grace, and I'm out here to make a video. I want to talk about, in this video, about people who, people who have the superiority complex. They truly believe, at least it seems that way, that they're superior to everybody in their world. And, I've studied a long time, and often what was said, I was a career student at university, and often what was said was that people with superiority complex are just basically masking an inferiority complex. And anyway, but some people put out there that they know they have this, what I call superior knowledge. And they just do. They don't have any, if you look up narcissism, they don't have any anything to back it up. Like they don't have, in everything, there's somebody who's going to be a voice of authority. And they have some kind of superior knowledge. Any topic that you hear discussed, they did whatever they had to do to get there. Like, cooks, they go to school, they have so much experience in cooking. And then you have somebody come in who doesn't have that experience and acts as if they do. Put it out there that they do, that they know better than that cook, that, wherever they became a chef. They studied to become a chef. And this person has no knowledge of that, but they believe they do just because they exist. To them, everybody needs to know that they are, superior in everything. Okay, there is no such person. None. Okay, now I've mentioned this topic I don't know how many times. It just depends on which channel I put this on, but I have more than one over 11 years. Yeah, I have more than one. But the thing about it is, a lot of what I see this is people, who are the ones that they have whatever social media, I just call them all channels. They have, they see themselves as this, person with a superior knowledge. Okay, pardon me doing it like this for some kid. I don't put other people's kids in my videos. Some kids at the park, so. Anyway, they put it out there. They make a video and they put it out there. And these are the people that often turn into grifters. Grifters, well, they always are. Some call them Ebeggars. They're the charlatans, the ones that think that, they just, because they exist, like I just said, and people should need to realize that they are that person. Yes, it's time for a new mount. But I've been having problems with it since yesterday. But anyway, where was I? This is why I never get to do these kinds of things happen. Never get to go straight through a topic. But yeah, the people who are the charlatans, con artists, online, they basically do like live stream, and they're very opinionated about whatever. It can be anything. They could be, I've seen a lot of them do it, some of them just do it about life. Some of them act like they know, crime. Let's see what genres, like true crime, deliveries, food deliveries. Okay, what are you doing, dude? I get distracted because people do weird things. But, yeah, one just did. But, let's see, beauty, shopping, I said food delivery. Just so many things, and so many people act like they're experts on them when they don't have anything to back up that. It's just their opinion. And some of them will have people who do have what it takes to be a voice of authority on it, and they're going to say they know better than the voices of authority. Okay. And they're doing this so they can scam the audience, they just BS their way to the audience gives, they'll BS their audience until the audience gives them money. they're smart mouth or whatever, or they claim that, oh, woe is me, oh, so many problems happen, on and on. Okay, you know the time. But what I want to talk about this time, and it's like it's all scripted. It's when their audience, doesn't necessarily mean they're people who are subscribed to them, but their audience start leaving comments that are, the audience puts them in their place. Like they may have done things like, I've seen this happen so many times, like I said, it's practically scripted. They get to a point where they show they're very sarcastic, sardonic, so snarky, snarly, and they were saying negative things about their audience, but thinking that their audience is too stupid to realize that's what they're doing. And some people, it's not about stupid, it's about these are people who are master manipulators. They have that narcissistic and the Machiavellian traits, characteristics, attitudes, it's all about them and all this stuff. Anyway, but at some point, quite often what happens is our audience gets tired. The audience's eyes will come open, wake up. They wake up and they say, because something they do, they go, the person, they just go a step too far. Or, their con and their manipulation and all this stuff is noticed. It's just so obvious. It's right there. And they don't, they try to do the manipulating and it doesn't work. Something triggers the audience to say, oh, no, you're not that. Okay, now I shouldn't say this, I've had my first computer 1982. It's a long time ago. So I've been online quite a bit since, 1982. And, people, myself even, you might follow somebody, whatever, I'm just going to call it follow, not in a stalkerish kind of way, but, like you're interested in what a person has to say for a while. And then, life changes, things happen in, your own life that take you away from, or you just lose interest in the topic, the genre, the whatever, and you move on. That's normal. But in this kind of thing, when the person is so manipulative, and like they do, like I said, live streams or just videos, and that in each and every one of them, they're manipulating, trying to manipulate everybody who's watching, somehow, some way, either to feel sorry for them, or to say, oh, I want to watch this person more. They have such knowledge, such wonderful knowledge that can help me, whatever it is. That's a totally different thing. There's just interest. Somebody losing interest. Ooh, you are way too close. I'm telling you, I get weirded out the way people drive these so close. And there's nobody in the other lane. Anyway, but what I have said before is, I wait for the day that the audience wakes up and sees it, and there's more than one doing this kind of con that I've seen, manipulation and all that right now that I've seen, and one of them finally got caught. I say caught, and I mean the audience's eyes woke up, and they woke up big time. And each one influences can or maybe not influence the others. If they go and read all the comments and they say, somebody's standing up to her. People are saying that's not right, and I'm going to think about that. I don't leave comments like that or anything. I usually don't even leave comments at all. I usually only read comments. So, and I've been doing this all these years, making my first channel on YouTube will be 11 years old in August. So, and that's just the ones I used to make videos. I've had before then had YouTube channels. Okay, that is to watch stuff. Okay, to watch videos. But anyway, to see somebody finally get what they deserve in a way, and I've mentioned this on the video. I've never really been one to, seek revenge or, have that whole, I think it's because, I was born and raised Christian. And if you were born and raised Christian, you know what I'm talking about. But, and it never really felt good to me to see it even. But, I mentioned, like I said, I mentioned a video I made yesterday. It's good to, this one, I admit to, it felt good because just to see how this person was doing such awful things, saying such awful things, and you are too close. What in the world? The same car just came back around again. My goodness. What is it? Oh, they're about to hit the car up there. I'm moving out of the way. I am moving out. I'm thinking I might be safe in my own driveway. That was scary. You would not believe how scary that was. That person, and it was a woman and a man. I would say they're probably in their 50s. She was driving. Unless I just saw them wrong. Both times they passed me by. But they got so close to where I was parked up against I'm parked legally over there. Up against the curb. It's a big road. Wide road. And instead of just kind of moving over, they came right next to me like if they could have taken off my side view mirror. They got so close. Just scratched the whole side of my car. And they're driving pretty fast, and it's 30 in there. That's a park right there, and it's a neighborhood with kids. Okay. That was scary. And they got around. They came all the way around the block that fast. It's 30. It's not a speed. And that's not 60. Okay, Adam had come out of the house, and I told him about it. He says, well, we see one of those every day. And I said, no, this was really scary. And it was. I mean, my heart was, at least my heart wasn't beating too bad. But it was like, I'm not sitting here, no way. How they got around that big block, I don't know, that fast. Like I said, they had to be going at least 60. Anyway, my videos don't get, my videos are vlogs. My videos are for ranting. The pressure release valve, stuff I see, I talk about. I'm not here I'm not here to try to teach people stuff or, like those kind of videos. This is more a vlog style video. Me ranting about what I see, and usually while I'm making a video, something is happening. If I were sitting right here, maybe not. But I can't even say that because I have a neighbor who's more than one neighbor, who's very nosy. And so there's all that. I'm sitting out here in front of my house, and they think that they have to stand in their yard and watch me for years. Remember 11? Seriously. Anyway. But let me get back to this now. Okay, so to get to this part, this woman, it was a woman, and it's not always women. I've seen so many of these grifters, or whatever you want to call them, for all of these years. Yeah, so many of them. And like I said, it's practically scripted. What happens is usually the audience catches on, and that person, that grifter, gets slammed by all these negative comments, and people, pointing out their flaws, people pointing out how wrong the grifter is, and how much BS the grifter, and they flat out tell them off. Let's show them how, they show the grifter how the cow ate the cabbage, and how the grifter is not superior. And it happens like boom sometimes. I mean, it varies, and not everything is 100%. But quite often it is that they get slammed with negative comments. And usually that person, that grifter, once they put up their video, like if they do it just as a video, they'll sit there and watch for the comments, and they'll delete and block delete the person, the commenter, one after another. So there's nothing negative up there. It's all praise. Okay, and I've seen that consistently with whichever person it is, grifter it is at the time, that they'll, block, delete them. You'll see the comment there and boom, it's gone. But I'm not one to really read comments, but when something like this one happens, I'm like, whoa, somebody is going to see that. And this was what happened with the latest one. And I'm like, wow. I started reading the comments. I said, wow, man. Some people were saying, And she touched the wrong thing. She did the wrong, she triggered them, basically. And boy, did they, like I said, she was slammed by these negative comments. And she didn't take them down. She may have done a few of them. She tried to defend herself in a couple of them or something. I didn't read every single one of them, I don't think. But, and they weren't long comments. But they were negative. And they were saying no. Some of them were just like, no. And you're not, you don't know what you're talking about in this. You're wrong. This kind of thing. And some of them were, maybe a line or two. Maybe a few were longer. I don't know. I didn't see, but maybe one or two that was long. And but they got their attitude and their view across. She was wrong. She was. She's been wrong before then, though. Like doing things that she. I mean, when you do something wrong, like say the traffic thing, like just happened back there, or people who just stop right in the middle of the road. And I've seen this delivery people do this. Stop right in the middle of the road, jump out and go deliver to a house. And they're stopped right in the middle of the road. Like I just said, middle of the road. And you're sitting there going, what the? You need to pull over. You need to get up against the curb. You don't just stop and get out. Or they take the disabled, the lanes, parking spots for people with disabilities. They take those and they put their flashers on like that. Like there's something there, and they're delivery people. Like that's how you do it? When you do something like that and somebody calls you on the carpet about it, you're wrong. But I have a feeling she's going to come back. Whenever she, like me, I make this video, it might be a week or two, a month or a year before I put it up. Not a year, but it can be days or so. And she might do that. So I'm not expecting it like real soon. But by that time, that kind of person has let that build up so bad. They hold it in and they just let it build up, build up, build up. And like people say, you don't keep it welled up inside or something like this. But they will. And then they have all that hate and anger and rage, sometimes rage. And she may do it. She may come back at her audience for how dare they. And, tell her she's wrong. And she was wrong. She was very wrong for one after another. I watched the video and I was like, oh, it's cringe. How she had an opinion and she thought everybody involved should know she is right. She was wrong. So, anyway. Okay, like I was talking about, it's how scripted it is. Another thing that she might do, if like the other ones that do it scripted, is to punish her audience. Okay, because whatever they, as I've noticed, and this is my opinion, could be wrong. My degrees are in psychology and sociology, so hey. But what I've noticed them doing quite often is to punish the audience, which would, there's so many tactics that I don't want to give anybody, but that I was trained in as a student when I was earning my first degree in psychology. It was psychology and sociology. I had a double major, but that was the first degree. And what I learned as an undergraduate, in other words, I was a graduate, career student over 20 years. you know, learn about this kind of thing is how that people will, how they manipulate. So one of the classes was, I remember saying, oh, they're teaching me how to, what's the term? Oh, it's basically mind games. Okay. You know, that was a term back then. Not a term back then. That was, you know, a thing. Anyway, oh my goodness. But, yeah. Oof, it's gotten a little warm. Okay, anyway, but one of the things that they do is to punish their audience. Some of them go that route. Some of them just disappear for a while. But some of them go the route of punishing their audience by disappearing just for a little bit. Not really disappearing, you know, like they may have been doing videos every day or every other day or something, you know, 2 or 3 a week, and instead they just stop for a week or something. And or they'll make really short videos, because you know, some people, when they get involved in this, they get when they start you know, saying they start standing up. They want to see the results of what they said, what other people said. They want to receive the results, and they're getting so involved in it. And then, but the person, the grifter, says, "Oh, I'm gonna make them pay for what they said to me." In whatever way they find to do that, you know, to play the mind games and all. And you know, like I said, so, you know, I'm not really want to give them too much, but I gotta explain a little bit. Well, they just, you know, some of them do just switch genres. They close that. They may close the channel, the account, or they just leave it there and never go back to it. They start on another one and start up a new genre, like I said. Or they wait for a while, wait several months. And now this is not so much the mind games part. This is that they said, okay, I screwed myself, so I'm going to start all over again in a different genre. And hey, people are going to find out really soon that I'm so superior, and it's lather, rinse, repeat with them. So, okay, now I'm not one to point out the person's name, channel name, anything that points, you know, at them specifically, and you know, as far as like a name or channel name. And but some people will. Some of the audience will. They will start making their own videos about it and saying, look, this is what she's doing, or he's doing, they're doing. And they can gain popularity really fast. You know, because other people are, like I said, they're somehow, you know, involved. They want others that feel the same way as they do. They see it, you know, their eyes are open, and they need somebody to talk to, or whatever is the case. And I'm curious to see what happens on this one. And I'm myself, you know, I am hoping that she just moves on. I don't think she will. She gets too much money from playing the audience, and she brags about it. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up and go inside it. It's 6:48 p.m. May 30th, 2025. But I'm curious. I don't think I wanted to add anything else. I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.